caught a couple of stories that were written by Murray Weiss from DNAinfo, longtime criminal justice correspondent. First of all, Murray, tell us about this. You're saying there's this kind of simmering dispute between the Port Authority Police and the NYPD when it comes to security down at the World Trade Center site. Explain to viewers and your readers what you were talking about.
Well, happily. As most people know, post 9/11, there was friction over the New York City Police Department and the Port Authority who would police the now destroyed towers. But now you fast forward 10 years later, and the friction is again rising to the surface. Why? The towers have been rebuilt. The site now is bustling with business, transportation hub. Tenants are beginning to move into businesses there. So the New York City Police Department has a very, very heavy-handed presence there, and the Port Authority is pushing back, saying we have to lighten the police presence here. This is no longer a war zone. This is a business area that people are coming to, and also the museum is open, so tens of thousands of people are going down there.
You've covered this a long time. You've covered the agencies a long time. I was curious. The Port Authority security headed by a former NYPD executive official, First Deputy Commissioner Dunn. Is this just a turf war, or are these just fundamental differences in the approach to what security needs to be down there?
Well, it's probably a combination of two. Obviously, the Port Authority is the primary agency that controls the Port Authority buildings, and that includes the World Trade Center. Joe Dunn actually was the first Deputy Police Commissioner on 9/11. In fact, was down at Ground Zero and nearly was killed himself. He's now the head of security there, and I think they're just trying to make recommendations to the police department, but the police department are a hard-headed lot sometimes, and they're just pretty much ignoring even modest suggestions.
Okay. Interestingly enough, I heard Dunn's name mentioned as a possible successor to Ray Kelly, depending upon what happens in the mayor's race. His name is out there.
That's true.
We know you spent some time covering the stop and frisk federal trial, and our viewers may have heard there were developments late in the week. Tell us what this appellate panel said and what it practically means.
Well, the appellate panel has already turned a controversial issue pretty much on its head. They have basically stepped in and stopped the judge's decision that implemented federal monitors and all kinds of draconian measures to bring control to the police department's controversial stop and frisk policy, but they've also excoriated the judge and taken her off the case, saying that her whole approach to the case was prejudiced. She didn't demonstrate impartiality, so they basically turned the case it's going to have to go back virtually to square one.
How unusual is that for the appellate panel to take the judge off the case?
I'd say, Dave, this is pretty extraordinary. I mean, there are cases where judges get overturned on technicalities, they make mistakes, they're humans, but this is a wholesale embarrassment really for her.
Now, practically speaking, in a few seconds left, Murray, what does it mean? The judges themselves, when they were listening to arguments, said, look, we know there's a mayoral change coming, and depending upon who wins, maybe some of this is moot. So practically speaking, what do you think, what it means for
I think the biggest thing is that Judge Scheinlin, who's been booted off this case, pointed out what the problems were with stop and frisk. And I think the PD has already ratcheted down the policy tremendously. I think it's being reined in. So in a way, she's accomplished what she intended, even though she herself has taken a beating and the case is, basically going back to ground zero.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Murray. Always giving us a good sense of what was happening there. Appreciate it. All right.
Pleasure.